Welcome everyone who came. We're here today. We have a special guest, JJ Gorena. He's a certified coach, Success Magazine, certified coach and mentor. Also, he's a commercial real estate. You're a broker, AJ, right?
Yes,
A commercial real estate broker, yes. So we wanted to thank him for willing to come in and give us a mindset. I wanted to talk about this today because I know first quarter is pretty much over. We're getting into the next. We are over pretty much. The first quarter is done, and we're getting into the next three quarters. And a lot of people say the fourth quarter is slow when you get into it. But if you don't have the right mindset for anything, I was thinking, once a month I try to bring a guest speaker in, and I really wanted to bring someone to talk about mindset. That was just something kind of on my mind lately. I talk to a lot of agents. I do a lot of trainings, and people say the market's this, the market's that. And the ones like you, Adriana, that were saying, hey, everything is so good. I'm so much better. They're doing better. Mindset does have a big effect. So I can say that as much as I want, but I wanted someone else to come in and talk to you guys about it because that makes a bigger difference. And if you want to just take over, JJ, it's all yours, man.
absolutely. Thank you guys for allowing me to do this. I'm gonna talk. This is session one of a 13-week course. If anyone knows Jim Rohn, if you don't know Jim Rohn, he's like the godfather of self growth, and he had an empire that was succeeded by two gentlemen. One's name's Tony Robbins. I'm sure you remember. You know who he is,
Yes.
and and the other person's Don Hobbs. Don Hobbs actually outlasted Tony Robbins and inherited the Jim Rohn empire, and then he's been coaching people like at the highest level, like the highest level that you can coach, like the
Wow.
biggest entrepreneurs and business professionals for the last 35 years. So just to let you know what this is, so this course Don is the main author of this course, along with me, Dr. Michael Abelson that created the disc, if you know who he is, and then also Eli Shaw, which is the NLP master. We call him Yoda, and therefore I am Obi-Wan Kenobi because I'm his predecessor. I'm like his little. Uh, he's actually my business coach. So this is a really intense course. If you want, what I could tell you is like a master's degree in entrepreneurship. It has nothing to do particularly with real estate. It's just for any kind of business. You can be a baker. We have a guy that has a pressure washing business that's in the class. We have, you know, title people. It's for everyone. But this is session one, and session one talks about mindset because we could all be ready for any. You're not ever ready for any kind of process unless you have the right mindset. We were just talking, Adriana, how just right before we talked about this, there's the mindset that she had before this really good news, and how her mindset switched right when she got some really good news. And that's really how life is. That's how business is. If you have to have your mind set right. So today we're just going to go, and I have to go really quick. It's usually an hour and a half session, so I'm going to kind of breeze through it really fast. But this is session one of the 13-week course, and it's developing the mindset. So, um, and what we're going to cover today is, who are you currently being? How can you gain leverage? We're going to show you the success wheel and where you're lacking, maybe stretching beyond your comfort zone, and then hopefully we'll still have time for being your superhero. So number one, how do you leverage? So as real estate agents, what I see a lot of times is everyone wants to climb this staircase all the way to either stair 4 or 3. A lot of people say, like, I'm really good at real estate and sales. Let me just get a business partner that's also really good at real estate and sales, and then we just double our business. And that never works, because like, I'm really good at relationships and sales, but guess what? I'm super disorganized. So when I got a business partner that was also really good at relationship and sales, we just got twice as disorganized, if you can imagine that. So the first thing you're supposed to do, the first step when it comes to your leverage is number one is personal growth. What are you doing for your personal growth? Like, how can you make sure you get the capacity, the best Andrew or Adriana or Crystal? How can I be the best version of myself? And that comes with personal growth. You guys are in this class right now, so obviously you're working on your personal growth. That's like, what books are you reading? What classes are you taking? What conferences are you going to? If you get on an airplane, they don't say, hey, take your mask and give it to the person next to you. They say, take your mask and put it on yourself first, right? You have to get yourself right first in order to help anyone else or to grow in any capacity. The second thing is systems and processes. Have you leveraged ChatGPT? Have you leveraged all the things that's available for us as in 2025 to make you as an entrepreneur the best you can? Like, have you broken it down to where your systems and processes are just elite? That's what we're going to cover in the course. The third thing is marketing and branding. Like, find leverage that have people call you instead of you calling people. You have to be top of mind. Everyone says they have to know, like, and trust you, but there's a fourth one. They have to also remember you. If you've ever had like someone that is in your sphere of influence, or your family member or friend says, "Oh my God, I just put a house under contract," and you go, "What?" Like, you're like, "I know this chick knows me, this guy knows me, they like me, obviously, because we're friends. I'm pretty sure they trust me, but why didn't they use me?" They didn't remember you. And if they didn't remember you, that's on us. It's on the branding and marketing that we do, or the lack of, right? So this is how you can get your bandwidth to the highest place humanly possible. And then finally, once you've done that, and this is courses all the way to, this is when we get to course 10, where we are right now in our first round. That's when you can start to think about, okay, now I'm ready to grab a virtual assistant or an actual marketing director or whatever. That's when you're able to succeed through people, is once you've kind of mastered, or at least gone through steps 1, 2, and 3. So I want you guys to, it's a small enough class, unmute yourself and give me your definition of success. Anyone and everyone. Andrew.
Mine kind of silly, but I look at it as a way to be able to provide for my family and not have to
Sure.
stress about it. To me, that's
Okay,
very important to me.
got it. Stress-free, being a provider that's stress-free. Adriana or Crystal,
Yep.
either one of you.
Get repeated clients.
Repeat clients. Okay. Adriana, what about you, girl?
Having that connection with your client.
Having a great connection with your client. So how about this? Can we all agree that success is getting what you want? No matter what your answer was, we have 100 other people to answer, is getting what you want. So I'm going to stop real quick on that. I used to go around the country and do a workshop on the one thing, the book on one thing. And this is one of the slides. And I had a friend said, "Well, JJ, I'm successful. I bought a house because you told me to. I bought an investment property because you made me. I have 2 really nice cars. We have 2-week vacations. We go really cool places. My kids, they're healthy. My wife and I have jobs. We're good." And so I stopped him and I said, "Look, because I don't want to create a debate here, but we live on this little purple marble that goes around this, or blue marble, sorry, that goes around the sun. And if we were closer to the sun or further away from the sun, if we didn't have the moon next to us, we would all not exist, right? So there's that. Now on that little blue marble, we live in a country that is debatably the best country that's ever existed. Again, I don't want to start a debate, but we live in the United States of America. And we also live in this awesome state, Texas. And right now there's 392 people a day moving between here and Georgetown. So I told him what I'm going to tell you right now. Having 2 cars, 2 weeks off, 2 houses, that's luck. That has nothing to do with what you want. So figure out what you really want. Like that, and a lot of people don't understand, and they inhibit themselves from really talking about or thinking about what they really want. Because I told him, I was like, are those the vacations you want to go on? Are those the cars that you really wanted? Is that the houses that you really, and I know it was not the houses you really wanted because I helped him shop for them. Or, what are you really wanting out of this life? Because this is a really short period of time that we have here. And are we doing the best to be the best that we can? And this is what happens to our brain. Our brain is rewired against us. And let me tell you how. In order for you to do something, you have to be it, to do it, to have it. But our brains don't like that scenario. So they want to say stuff like, I'll give you an example. If let's say you have a person that you admire in real estate and you say, "Well, if I did the business that he or her did, then I would have the production that he or her has, and then I would be that person." That's how your brain is wired. Or if I had the past clients or database that this person has, then I would do the business that they were going to do, and therefore I could be like that person. That's how your brain is wired. But if you really want to take any kind of advice from me today, you have to have. And I'm going to give you an example. My business partner wanted to do luxury for so long. And I remember we had our first luxury buyer, and we were supposed to have a meeting with him to show him a property at 9 a.m. I showed up at 8:45 because I'm that guy. Just to not check on him, but I just was in the area. I was like, you know what, it'd be cool. I'll go with him. Guess who was there at the property at 8:45? The buyer. Guess who was not? My business partner. And of course, I opened up the door. He goes, "Are you Bobby?" No, I was like, I'm the other guy. I'm showing him something. I'm looking at my watch. It goes 9:05, 9:10, 9:15, 9:16. My business partner shows up in his Maserati, all late and charming and whatever. And of course, he charms his way out of it. And, you know, my business partner has over 400 pairs of Jordans. That guy was wearing Jordans. They hit it off, blah, blah, blah. But I talked to my business partner after that, and I chewed him out. And I said, dude, how are you late to your first luxury appointment? I thought you wanted to be a luxury agent. He goes, dude, I had to get up and I was ironing my shirt and then I burned it. And so I had to iron another shirt. So I said, okay, dude, do you want to be a luxury agent? He said, yes. I was like, do you think luxury agents iron their own shirts? He goes, no. He goes, what do they do? He was like, they dry clean. I was like, exactly. So if you're going to be, you get it? If you're going to be a luxury agent or a commercial real estate agent or whatever, you have to be that person in order to do the things that they can do, in order to have the things they have. And that's my, like, the most generic version of be, do, have. But I wake up every day saying, like, who I want to be like is a person named Mark Willis. Used to be the CEO of KW. He was my personal mentor. Every day that I wake up, I go, what would Mark Willis do? When Andrew says, hey, would you talk to my crew? I was like, yeah, because you know what? That's what Mark Willis would do. Life gets super easy if you just say, like, well, what would Mark Willis do? Or what would whoever do in this situation, right? I'm on this call right now because I know the moment that he asked me, I said, yeah, because if Mark Willis would do it, well, then I'm going to do it, okay? So I want you guys to know that where the magic happens, very cliche, is outside of your comfort zone. So I want you guys to tell me right now, if I was a genie and I could snap my fingers and I could change your business, what was the first thing you would want to be changed in your business right now? Adriana or Crystal, either one. Or Andrew.
I'm not so sure.
Where's your biggest struggle right now in your business?
Fighting time.
Okay, so Crystal, our session 2 is literally a CEO's calendar. We're gonna get you to a CEO type calendar. So that's session 2. How about you, Adriana?
Ooh.
I'm the same way as Crystal. I don't know what to say because I'm not shy. I'm not in the comfort zone. I'm an extrovert, so I don't know.
Well, there's so much that goes on for an entrepreneur. Like, we're all salespeople, but business people are different. Or you can be a really good salesperson, but you need to work on yourself as a business person. So I'm gonna go through the session 2 is getting your calendar like a CEO. Session 3 is SWOT analysis on your company and setting up your Chat GPT army. We're gonna set up robot slaves that are gonna be working for you 24/7. Session 4 and 5 is the business plan that is issued by the Small Business Administration. It's such an extensive business plan that you can take it once we're done with it. You can go to a bank and say, hey, give me money. It's literally the underwriting tool that they have for businesses. Session 6 is SMART goals, creating SMART goals, not only for yourself, but someone on your team. Session 7 is the language of sales. There's 17 different closing tactics. I'm a hard closer. There's soft closes, and people are soft closers. We teach them hard closes. We also get into how your representation system is. Are you visual? Are you audio? Are you kinesthetic? Are you auditory digital? And are you speaking a certain language? Because if you're visual, you're going to just close visually to someone. And if they're auditory, they're going to be like, I don't know what you're saying. And so there's a sub language in English, and we're going to teach you that and how to close other sub languages with predatory stoppers, tie downs, and closes. So that's the language of sales. Then we go into branding and marketing, and then we go into hiring through the trimetrics, and then we go into forever clients and events and public speaking and elevator pitches. Anything that you've ever needed to work on in your entire life, it's working on your business, not in it, because all of us are stuck in our business. We're showing houses, we're doing market analysis, we're getting leads. This is 13 sessions to work on your business. Like, how can I get my business from here to there, to there, to there? So just to let you know, I'm going to give Andrew some information about this. If you're interested in it, I'm going to give a half off promotion for you guys that are attending here and anyone else that Andrew wants to give that to. And we're going to start session 2 in either next week or the week after. Now, look at this wheel. It's called a success wheel. I want you guys to look at the purple portion first, then the yellow version, then the pink, then the green, then the blue. And I want you to look at the wheel and rank yourself from 1 to 10 on each one. So rank yourself on spirituality and personal growth, and learning, and then rank yourself health and fitness, and then fun and recreation. And by the way, ladies, fun is what you do for fun, not what your kids do for fun. What you do for fun. I know that's kind of if you have children, it's so hard for me. I would talk to moms. They're like, "What does that mean?" What you do for fun. And then love and relationships, your personal relationship, and of course your family and friends, and then your environment, and then the community. And then if you look at business, it's your work. If you're a real estate agent, your job description is to lead generate, so that's your work. And then your actual business is your money and finance. So if you guys give me a little feedback, Adriana and Crystal, where do you rank the highest? Andrew too.
I think I'm pretty good on some of my like my purpose. Business isn't bad. I always want to make more money, of course. That's what drives me as well, to be able to support everybody better. But I'm still not bad. My wellness is probably more on the lower side, just because I'm
Okay.
out of shape. I'm still not bad. I still exercise some, but not like I was in the military 20 years ago. So I'd
Right.
like to, of course, I'll never get back to that unless you're doing that full time. But you
Right.
know, I'm probably like a 5 or 6 there, and I'd rather be a 7 or 8 or 9. But the rest is, you know, there's always, of course, nothing's a 10, but there's always
Right.
room to improve.
Okay. So money and finance and purpose is pretty high, and the rest is your 7 or above. What about you, Adriana or Crystal? What is your highest? What is your lowest? Go ahead, Crystal.
I think family and friends are my highest.
Okay.
Um, Work, stress, yes. 9. I'm just kidding. Money, finance, I think I'm good, but I would say somewhere around 7, maybe.
What is your lowest on the wheel if you had to say, if you want to say it?
I guess is fun and recreation. Don't have time for that.
I got you. How about you, Adriana? What's your highest? What's your lowest? I think she's still muted. It's okay. It's all right. This is what I want to talk to you about. Whatever your lowest is, you have to use what we call the focusing question. It's all over the book, the one thing. But whatever your lowest in, you got to ask yourself, what is holding you back? What habit do you have to do to eliminate? There's a habit that we have. First of all, we make habits subconsciously. Have you ever been driving to the HEB, but the music is just perfect, and then all of a sudden you're jamming out, and your brain takes you home? Your subconscious is the most powerful thing that's ever happened. See, the subconscious is well, the conscious mind is the goal setter. Like Andrew said in the beginning of this call, we're a quarter into 2025, and probably in November, December, we said, hey, we had these goals. We're gonna sell these many houses or do this much in production or whatever. That's the goal setter. That's the conscious mind. The goal getter is the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind only allows you to it filters everything out of your mind except for 167 bits of information, and I'll prove it to you. Right now, your subconscious is monitoring how you swallow, your heartbeat, just circulation in your body, your nervous system, how cold it is or hot it is where you're sitting, if there's a draft on you or not, how heavy you're sitting in that seat right now. It is filtering all that out so that you can pay attention to my ugly butt and do this Zoom. That being said, the subconscious is built for comfort. So think of yourself as a castle and there's a moat around you. That's your subconscious is making sure that you are comfortable, because that is its purpose, is to cherish the comfort. It's the shirts that we wear, it's the linen that we have on our beds, it's everything that the thermostat that we leave at our house. Everything that we do in life is for comfort. So the question you need to ask yourself is, what is holding you back? And list them. List them right now. What's holding me back from fun and recreation if you're Crystal, or health if you're Andrew Money? Like what habit have you accidentally created that you could eliminate? And by the way, if you can eliminate a habit and replace it with another habit, you get twice the results. So like for Andrew, if he says like, you know what, I usually sleep in on Saturdays and just chill, and that's his habit. By the way, we create habits. If you want, try to brush your teeth with your opposite hand. Try to put your underwear in with the opposite leg. You'll fall backwards. We've created habits. It's just not purposefully. So if Andrew's like, hey, I usually sleep in, let's say, I don't know his life, but let's say I usually sleep in and chill. What if he got up early on Saturdays and ran, or got up early on Saturdays and biked? He's replacing a negative habit with a positive habit, so he gets twice the results. So wherever you were low in that success wheel, think about what habit is holding you back, and what is it costing you? Because we don't really look at, and this is getting to behind the curtain of Oz. People really go after what they want versus, what they don't want versus what they want. And there's so many, and that really makes us scatterbrain. And let me give you an example. If I don't want to be broke, I can list what I don't want. But there's so many things that I can do to not to be broke. I can work at McDonald's and not be broke. I can Uber Eats and not be broke. Does that make sense? That's a don't want. I don't want to be broke is one way to look at life, but your subconscious, you have to tell it what you do want. So here's the difference. So not being broke is a don't want, but wanting to own one of the NBA teams, what if that was your want? There's only one path to do that. There's a million paths to not be broke. If you can tell the difference of that, that is what we're trying to talk about today. What is not what you don't want, it's what you do want. And if you're clear on exactly what you do want, which is the meaning of success, right? That is exactly what this entire course is. If it's being healthier, if it's being better with money, it's getting your business to the next level, if it's creating really good habits on closing tactics, if it's being able to hire someone to leverage yourself, if it's whatever it is, this is what this 13-week course is all about. So process each one on that success wheel. And if you want, Andrew, I'll send the success wheel to everyone so they can do this before session 2 if you're interested in session 2. So this is what we're talking about. When a goal that you're setting, it's all about the vision and the thinking. Time, effort, and energy are the same. And let me prove it to you. If you had a bad year last year, how long did it take? 365 days. If you had a good year last year, how long did it take? 365 days. So there's the equalizer is time. There's not more time on it. It's just vision and thinking. Effort may change a little bit, but it could be efforts on just different things, not more effort, but just changing efforts on different things. And then the energy, this is where I debate people. On the energy, I think it costs you more energy to have a small goal. And let me tell you what I mean by that. If you have a small goal, let's say your goal is like to increase your business by 5%, but the market's increasing by 10%. So you're not even outpacing the market. Well, what happens when the market tanks like it did last year? It creates a lot of bad energy, right? It creates more stress, actually. It'll cost you more, in my opinion, to have a small goal than a large goal, because if you miss the large goal, you're at least outpacing what's happening in the market. Don't let the market or anything else control you. Like Andrew said, this is the mindset that's difference between high producing human beings and average producing human beings, is just the vision and thinking. Okay. So, and imagine if you were, whoever you guys were, if you ever in a relationship, like if I went to my girlfriend and I said, hey, look, I'm really looking for an average house. I have a really average life going on and I want an average house. I want to go to some average vacation spots. We can have some average kids. We'll have an average time. We'll hit Rockport every 3 years. Would you even be willing to be in that circle? She would be like, absolutely not. I don't care how good looking you are or funny you are. Like there's no way that I would be able to court someone if I was like having this average outlook on life. Same thing if you're an employer. I have like 7 icons in my downline because I think big, and my universe is so big that their universes are inside of my universe. My universe has to be this big, because if not, then people want to be around people that have big ideas, that are going after big goals, right? That's how I surround myself with so many high producing human beings, growth minded human beings, because they're attracted to the bigger goals. And so it's not time and effort and energy. And there's a big, hairy, audacious goal. I don't know why it's hairy, but it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. Is that's the how that follows the why. Okay, you have to think beyond how you currently see. I'll give you an example. When I was in my 20s and I wanted to lose weight, I would say, you know what? I'm gonna stop drinking sodas. And then I would lose weight, and my ex would hate me because she's like, "What the hell? You're a boy. I hate you." And then in my 30s, I got a little bit more serious because my habits were not that great. So I said, I'm gonna go from corn tortillas and the flour to corn. No more Cokes. Of course, I lose weight. But now I'm telling you, when I turned 38, my doctor said you're pre-diabetic, no more games. And so, okay, well then let me see what would my goal be? Well, what's possible? And guess what's possible? Your body, what is it? It's a BMI, something, the body index, right? And it said,
BMI. Yep.
yeah, BMI. And I remember seeing that number, girls, and Andrew, I was like, what? That's not possible. How the heck am I supposed to be 176 pounds? But they take your age and everything and your height, and they said, yeah. And by the way, it is possible. We watch TV shows about it being possible. The Biggest Loser, what do? What is their goal for these people that are extremely unhealthy and overweight? They don't say like, hey guys, let's try to get 5 pounds off. No, they go, hey, we're going after your body mass index. That's gonna be what we're going for, right? So what was my strategy then? It wasn't no carbs after 3 or whatever. When I tried to get my body mass index, I needed a personal trainer. I needed to work out 3 days a week outside of my personal trainer. Then no carbs after 3. I had to meal prep 5 days a week. Do you see how different the goals are? I changed the energy and the effort a little bit, but really what it was the strategy. If you're strategizing for the best, then you're more likely to be closer to the best. And of course, that's how I've lost the amount of weight that I've lost in the last couple of years. So again, a good year takes us as much time as a bad year. It's just about the strategy. You're going to do the same amount of time, effort, and energy for the most part. In fact, I would debate that the energy would be more if it's lower, because if you're aiming low and you miss, it's detrimental to your business and your health and everything. And then of course, just thinking big is where you're going to get the best strategy, and you're going to have the most concentrated efforts, and you're going to be giving it the most energy. And by the way, when you start winning at a high level, if you guys want to get into a book, you guys should read The Gap and the Gain. If you start like focusing on the high level of production, it's just kind of like it becomes this thing that just never ends. It's perpetual. It's just you're winning on the same route. You're losing. It's the same thing. You can go into a bunch of wormholes on either side. So, and it's all about the question. See, doable is what comes natural. That's me not drinking Cokes in my 20s. That's natural. That I don't have to drink Cokes. A stretch made me a little uncomfortable. It was like, okay, no carbs after 3 and only corn tortillas. But what's possible is the BMI. See, that those are how the questions should go. But it's how the questions that you ask yourself. So I'm gonna give you some examples. When you ask yourself a question, usually it's small and broad. Like I talk to people and say, hey, what's your goal for 2025? And they're like, I just want to increase my sales, like, or I want to make some more money. I'm like, here's $1. Are you good? Here's $10. Are you good? Like, that's small and broad, right? The second thing is it's small and specific. A lot of people, they say like, you know what? I sold 12 houses last year. I'm going to do 14. I'm going to sell 14 this year. And I'm like, okay, that's small and specific. So it has very low results, because what you're doing is something that's doable. It's not going to make you uncomfortable in any way, and it's not going to really yield any results. And so therefore, again, you're going to be a product of the market, because there's so many factors that can affect you when you're aiming low. The next one is big and broad. That's a lot of people that I meet. They go, oh yeah, I'm going to double my business or double myself. I'm like, in how long? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? There's only been 2 years in my 20-year career where I doubled my business in 1 year. And I know exactly why. It's because I had a coach that was holding me accountable on a weekly basis, and I had a huge team, and I was super focused, and my energy and everything was in it. I've always increased every year, but I only doubled twice. And doubling is really hard because, well, in the beginning, going from 1 million to 2 million is whatever. But when you go from 5 to 10 or 10 to 20, like those are huge leaps, and they take a lot of uncomfortability. And because that's what life is. Growth is in discomfort. The best one would be is how can I double my sales in 6 months? Think about the strategy of doubling your sales in 6 months. That's a totally different strategy than like, I'm going to go from 12 houses to 14 houses. So what we want to do is we want to find the great answers at the highest level of what's possible. And there's so many people that are killing it in San Antonio, and there's enough business for everyone. We know what's possible. Like there's individual agents in San Antonio that just kill, like they just do incredible business. And of course, your brain's gonna go back to do have be or have to be. They're gonna be like, oh, but she has 20 years of experience, or they already did a lot. And so don't let your brain mess you up. It's be do have. You have to be more like them to do what they have. Be more like them to do the business that they do, to have the business that they have. And that's a mindset of how you create, how you compare yourself every single day to high producing people. But I want to, and I want to take some time. I want you to actually think about your superhero, and what your superhero is someone that you admire in the business. And let me just tell you, I did another training, and I think Andrew was there. I did another training where we talked about who you admire. And I think what happens to us as adults, we stop admiring people. As a kid, you want to be like I wanted to be like David Robinson, or you want to be like Superman or Batman. You have this, think about your children. They have this imagination where they're like, wow, and they just pretend like they're this person. Something happens to us between childhood and adulthood where we like, and it's probably because all the people that we admire, like, you know, like P. Diddy and R. Kelly, and I can keep on going. There you go, ugh, like I don't want to be like them. And by the way, when I say I want to be like Mark Willis, I don't know how he is as a father. He's not who I want to be as a father. He's who I want to be in business, if that makes sense. Like he could be I don't know if he's a terrible spouse. I don't, in fact, I don't even know much about his daily routine. It's about what I imagine he is like. Just like how your kid imagines what Spider-Man would do, or Wonder Woman would do, or whatever. Who do you admire in the industry? And if you don't admire someone in the industry, it's probably that's what's really holding you back. And it doesn't have to be the San Antonio metro area. You should want to admire someone in the industry, like even if it's like Mike Sherrard out of Canada, or you know, I can just list like Coco. Like there's so many people that you should be able to admire, but pick someone to admire. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. What is your superhero in that industry? Like, why are they the superhero? Like, why is Mike Sherrard the GOAT right now? It's because he's poured into and leveraged social media and marketing for his downline. What are the results that they're getting? Meaning, like, what kind of business are they doing? How many transactions do they have? Like, what's their sales volume? Like, find out what results are they getting. More importantly, what do you think they learned, or what skill did they master, or what habit did they create that you just haven't created yet? Because there's a misnomer about habits. Everyone thinks it takes 21 days to create a habit. It actually takes about 66 days to create a habit. And in fact, if I told you I'm going to pay you $30,000 to brush your teeth with your opposite hand, you would be practicing that 3 times a week. Your teeth would be super white, and you would be practicing a lot. And after 66 days, you would probably be able to, you would be ambidextrous when it comes to brushing your teeth. So it's a habit. And by the way, believe it or not, I can promise you, you're 1 to 3 habits away from your superhero. It's not huge things that people think like, oh, I'll never be like this person because I don't have this, and I can't do that. You're at max 3 habits away. And those habits might just be waking up earlier, or those habits might just be eating better. Those habits might just be, you know, networking harder. It's 3 habits. And so in a given year, well, we're a quarter in, like Andrew said, but in the next 12 months, if it's 66 days per habit, you can change 5 habits in one given year and still take 2 weeks off for Christmas. So I want you to write down, what habit should I create in the next 66 days that will yield me the best results on that wheel. Wherever you were the lowest, figure out what's holding you back, create a habit to implement to take that low away. Because that success wheel, we created a wheel on purpose, because life is not just about business. It's about everything else. And I'm going to pull it up right now. And you have to go in order. You have to be purpose first, then wellness, then relationships, then social, then business. And you have to go in this order, because if I was saving $80,000 a month but I was like sick as heck and I wasn't taking care of my body and I was, then it wouldn't matter, right? Or if I was the number one commercial real estate agent in Bexar County, but my son doesn't talk to me, then it's not worth it, right? So take where you're lowest on the wheel, ask yourself and be honest, what is holding you back? And then implement a new habit that can make that portion of your life better. And then do it 4 more times in the next 12 months. Your life will change dramatically. You'll be quick. Your life will increase to be better. And I promise you, the purple, yellow, and pink, maybe not the green as much, but the purple, yellow, and pink will help the blue. The blue gets good on its own once all the other things are where they should be. We're juggling all of these things: spirituality, growth and learning, health and fitness, fun and recreation, love and family, love, significant other, family, environment, community. And then we're always focused on the results of work and finance. So what is your superhero? What have they learned? What skill have they mastered that you have not mastered yet? And then ask yourself, what does their calendar look like compared to your calendar right now? Like when I get up in the morning, my first alarm goes off. I'm, like 4:45 a.m. guy. And I look and I'm like, ugh. But I think to myself immediately, what would Mark Willis do? Mark Willis wouldn't snooze this alarm. Mark Willis would get up and do the miracle morning routine. So I'm trying to be like someone. I'm trying to be like someone that I admire. And I'm telling you, your life will get just so much easier if you do that yourself. And then I want you to think about what beliefs and values, what does your superhero care about? What matters to them? What do you think they care about? Because I'm gonna again, when it comes to coaching, and I think training, coaching, and mentoring all get mixed together. Training is what Andrew is incredible at. He trains me, and this is what it is. So what we do is we focus on results, right? This is my least favorite time of the year because it's like award season and like everyone's getting all these awards, real producer, NAR rep, whatever. Everyone's having like a little statue with their results. That's Chick-fil-A, by the way. And it may be whatever. That's what we focus on. Our brain focuses on the results. And what matters though is the next level, which is your actions. So what actions did you do in order to get the results that you got, right? And that's right there is kind of mentorship a little bit. The next level is like where Andrew really comes in, and it's your potential. Before I met Andrew, I'm going to be honest with you, I think I was like a 5 on CRMs. After I met Andrew, I feel like I'm a 7. Next time I've taken this class 4 times. I'm going to take it again. Andrew is going to unlock your potential in a lot of ways. And that's training. Say, I didn't know how to do this, and now I know how to do that now. So now I have different potential, so I can do different actions. I can get different results, right? But there's another level. That level is beliefs. Do you believe that you can do it? Does your subconscious believe it, which is more importantly? Because your subconscious is going to, I'll ask people in December, like, hey, what's your goal for 2025? And they smile, they go, 50 transactions. And they're smiling because their subconscious is saying like, what are you, crazy? I didn't live these many years to like get uncomfortable. No, they smile because their subconscious is the one that is actually answering. And even when I told people I was trying to get to my BMI, my subconscious is like, yeah, whatever, you're crazy. So there's belief. I have to challenge people's beliefs in this 13-week course, and I have to unravel it. The best analogy that I can give you is, when you're floating down the river, the Guadalupe River, there's always that chute that kind of creates chaos. We all hold the beer float up, that one inner tube that has all the beer. Our kids can go that way, our keys can go that way, we can lose a cell phone. But everyone's like, the beer float, right? Because if you lose the beer, then what's the point of, going down the river? Well, that beer float, then once it gets past the chute, everyone connects to the beer float. I like to put my feet under the rope. So I'm like not too far from the beer, but not so close to the beer that I look like an alcoholic. And then we all float together down the river. And it's all of these, if you look at an aerial view, if you had like a drone footage of people, it's the beer tube, inner tube, and then all the people that are around it. And that's exactly how our subconscious works. It's a belief system. That main beer float, inner tube, That's the main belief. It could be something like, my sphere of influence doesn't want to hear from me. That's a main belief. And attached to that is like, well, everyone, they already know another realtor. No, I don't want to bother them. They don't care about the information that I'm going to give them. Like, there's all these other limited beliefs that are in that main belief, and that's the belief system. And so mentoring is this. I love this person's business. I want to be exactly like them. So that's a square peg, square hole, right? So whatever you tell me, I'll do. You say jump, I say how high. That's mentorship. That's like the core training. That's like MAPS coaching. That's like that. The level above that is values. What do you value? Right now, what do you value? What do you have to value? What do you have to care about if you have a set goal now, a big, hairy, audacious goal, what do you have to care about now in order to get that big, hairy, audacious goal that you're not caring about right now? Maybe it's caring about lead generation. Maybe you have to care more about how big your database is. Maybe you have to care more about learning how to have 17 different closing tactics instead of just 2. Maybe you have to learn about processes and getting your processes and procedures down so that you can leverage your time. Maybe you have to care about figuring out what actually motivates you. Did you know that there's 6 motivating factors? Everyone thinks that they're money motivated, but it's pretty rare that I find people that are money motivated. But there's 6 motivating factors. That's the money motivation is, we call utilitarian. If they give you your time and effort, they want something in return. I am not that, but my business partner is, thank God. So I just hold on to him just hold on to him, and I go with him because he's very utilitarian. The second one is you can be theoretical. I'm very high theoretical. I think Andrew is as well. We have to be the smartest guys in the room. We have to know everything about every single thing that we touch. So that's theoretical. Then there's social. It's about other people. Then it's traditional. It's about a bigger picture. Then there's aesthetic. That's about harmony and wanting. It's all about the vibes, right? Then there's individualistic, and that's the ego. So you have to find out what's motivating to you, because a lot of people fail in a lot of businesses because they assume they're money motivated, but then they get to a level and then they get into a comfort zone and then they get stale and stagnant. Well, with this 13-week course, we're going to give you a trimetrics that looks at your DISC, your motivators, and your EQ, your emotional equivalency. It's a $176 thing, but we like just give it to you during the course. You get a link to it and you get it immediately. And then you can kind of see what motivates you. And more importantly, if you're going to start a staff or get a business partner, then they should be motivated by different things than you're motivated with. Because if everyone's just utilitarian and we're all just out to get money, then it's the boiler room, right? And if we're all aesthetic and it's all about vibes, then no one's going to ever get fired or have any standards. Or if it's all about individuality, then it's a bunch of egos in the room. Or if it's all about theoretical, then we're all just thinking and learning and not implementing. Do you see? So we have to figure out what you are and then who you need around you. And that's allowing you to grow. So what do you care about mainly is made up of obviously your past. If you grew up poor, you're probably more utilitarian than anyone else, right? I didn't grow up with a lot of money, so I like money, but not as much as my business partner. But it's your past, it's your personality, it's your motivation, and it's your emotional equivalency. And when you can put that all together, then you really do know how to get better. Like we go back to that first slide, it's putting the mask on first. It's working on yourself as much as humanly possible. At the end of the 13-week course, I promise you, I'm going to leapfrog your career 5 to 10 years. You're going to get
JJ, isn't it Tony Robbins that does the thing whenever he hires anybody? I know it's him or the other big coach. Whenever they hire anyone, they make them do a disc and they do those things, and they have.
So that one, KW does it too. So that one has.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up. That looks at 36 different assessments. The one that I gave you looks at 412. I mean, it is. When I got it, Andrew, it was like I didn't want to give it to my girlfriend because it's all my hopes and dreams and all my nightmares all in one, 72 page whatever. It really shows you, how like what are your time wasters, what you can do to improve your EQ, what you can do to have like more relevance in the work that you do, how to stop procrastination in my particular case. Like it really, it's one of the best analysis. Well, it's the best analysis that I've ever had on myself for sure. It's awesome. But once we get that, we start to realize, okay, if I'm like this, if I'm this type of person, because people don't change, by the way. If I'm this type of person, then what do I need to care about in order to at least change a portion of my business, or to at least change a portion of where I'm lacking here in the success wheel. So that is literally what we do during the 13-week course. And I'll send you a flyer, Andrew, and I'll give everyone 50% off. We're starting in.
Yeah, send me a flyer. I'll throw it in the YouTube link that the video will be on, so people can watch it. Yeah.
This is the calendar real quick. So we're gonna start our next one on the 20. April Fool's Day. So April Fool's Day, we're gonna do our first session 2, because this is session 1, and then we did it 13 weeks like in a row, and I realized that it was just so much information because there's homework in between each one. So it's gonna be like session 2, skip a week, session 3, skip a week, session 4 and 5 have to be back to back because it's a business planning clinic, and then so it'll be a little bit drawn out. So we called it a 13-week course because we thought we should knock it out in 13 weeks, but we do need a couple of breaks in there because there's a lot of stuff that we do in between, especially when we get to the Chat GPT army and really getting our branding done and really figuring out our business plan. Like, it's a lot of extra work that you need a couple of weeks to start to catch up before you fall behind. So that is the end of our session 1, which is the 13-week course. And if you can put this as a registration right here, Andrew.
Okay.
If you want to do good.
Yeah, I'll have that. I'll put it in there.
Yeah, and I'll send it to you. But that is session 1, getting your mind ready for success.
It's so interesting because when I grew up very poor. A lot of the things that you're talking about. So it was funny. A lot of my family, my parents, when I was younger, they used to say, because I have a brother who's a doctor, I had a sister who's a doctor, all these, and I was just like, I didn't do anything. I did okay in school and I was on the honor roll, but I didn't apply myself. I just like, okay, I'm good. And I just did it. And then they used to always say like, oh, you might as well just go get a job at like a warehouse. You're never going to if you're not smart enough. And I was like, whatever. And then I became a scientist and I was like, dude, it took me forever. But even, you're laughing, even though all my training I still do now, people are like, can you do this for me? And my first thought half the time always kicks back like, I can't do that. I'm not smart enough. And then I have to hit myself still after 50 years. I have to hit myself and say, no, I can do this shit. I'm not a problem. But yeah, it still hits you sometimes. You still have to do it. It's crazy.
Imposter syndrome is super real, dude. It is a super real thing.
Yeah, it's so crazy the way it hits you. Like, yep. And just like you said, I read the Think and Grow Rich book. That was a really good one. Yep. And the Atomic Habits was a good one too. Those are 2 of the good ones I just read. And those help you, get you moving.
I would put those 2 as the top 5 reading things is that it's Think and Grow Rich, A Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The One Thing, Atomic Habits. And now I've put in The Gap in the Game.
Yeah, I like the 7 Habits of Successful People too. That's a good one. Or how to influence people, whatever that one is. It's an older book.
Oh yeah, you know what? That was one of the first ones that I when I was a wine sommelier, I read that book.
Yep.
It's how to influence. Yeah, it teaches you how to
work with different people and everything. That was always a really good one. I haven't done The Gap in the Game, so I'm gonna have to read that one next.
That one's really good. You love it. And in fact, in the course, we give you a lot of the information on that as well.
Sweet.
But yeah, man.
Well, thanks for coming, Adriana. I'm glad you made it at least. I know I'm going to stop the recording now.